Welcome to the TIMFD podcast. Today is my favorite day is about appreciating every day as it comes, no matter what life throws at us. We hope that this podcast speaks to you, and if it does, please like, share, and comment. Now let's find out why today is our favorite day this week.
Well, welcome back to Today is My Favorite Day. And if you're looking at us on YouTube, you'll notice that Dave Towner is not here with me. I have today with us Kim McCollough. And you know what? I don't know what your title is here at the church, besides head cook and bottle washer.
Well, that among many things. My official title is office manager.
Okay. Well, I can tell you this, without the office manager, things would really be a mess around here. So Kim does an awesome job for us here at the Harbor Church. And so I just want to talk to Kim a little bit about, so people will know right away that you aren't from Florida.
No. Born and raised in Mississippi. I have lived in a few other places, but that's home for me.
That's home for you. What brought you to Florida?
My husband took a job here, and so he was looking at different places, and just Tampa looked like a really good opportunity, a place where he loves to fish, so, great opportunity for him. So our daughter was out of the house, and we just thought it was a good time to make that move. So
you're empty nesters.
Yes, somewhat. She still comes home quite a bit. But.
Well, kids always come back, and that's a good thing, especially the older they get, more mature they get. So when did you move down? How long ago?
We moved in 2019.
Okay. Actually,
my husband moved down a couple of months before I did because he had to start his job. Mm-hmm. And I had waited for Megan, our daughter, to graduate high school. And then we had to get the house up on the market and whatnot, too. So it was summer of 2019 before I moved.
Okay. So what brought you to the harbor?
Well, we were looking for a church home. We were well-rooted in our church back home. I was actually office manager there and campus pastor's assistant. So, we were well-grounded. I mean, that was a big part of our life was church. Okay. And so, we wanted to find a church here, obviously, super important. And we visited a couple different ones. And just when we came to the harbor, it felt like home.
Okay. And how long after that did you get flung into your job?
Let's see. Well, I told my husband I would like to take that summer off, the 2019, because I didn't know anything about Tampa. I could see me, applying for a job in Riverside and, not realizing that it was an hour away. So I needed to at least learn a little bit about the area. And then I asked him, I had to go back home too to kind of tie things up. So I started looking for a job in September, and then I started here in October.
Okay. So you just got back from an amazing trip, from what I understand.
We did. My husband and I went for our 25th anniversary. We went to Peru. Machu Picchu has kind of been on our bucket list. So we got to do Machu Picchu and then just do some other things around Peru that, we just had a great time.
So I understand there's a lot of walking to be done when you go there. Is that correct?
It is indeed. It's such a beautiful place. So we did a lot of hiking and a lot of walking. The architecture in Cusco was the other city we went to. And Lima, we toured there too. Walked around those towns, those cities, I guess. And as well as hiked a couple of mountains too. So it's a lot of fun.
So what was your biggest takeaway from being in another country, another world almost?
And it is. I've been to other countries, but really there it's just so much different than the United States and some of the other countries we've been to. It really just made me grateful for what I have. The things I started, sometimes you're like, this is such a pain to do this, but you just take things for granted.
Right.
So, it just I came away with a much higher appreciation for the things that I have. And it really just, you hear about America being affluent, but you really don't realize it until you go to another country.
Until you've been somewhere else, yeah. Mm-hmm. So some of your hobbies, I know one of them is scuba diving. Yes,
my husband and I just, and our daughter, she scuba dives too. We were certified several years ago, and we loved it. Really did it because we all like to swim in the water and see stuff. And, when I snorkel, you go down, you have to come back up for air. Right. So scuba diving, you can stay down and just, it's a whole different world under there. Right, so peaceful. It's beautiful. It's just another layer God's beautiful creation.
Right, right. So what's the most spectacular scuba dive you made?
Has to be Bonaire.
Okay.
It's the island itself is not that beautiful, but the reefs around is the prettiest. The water is more clear than any place we've ever been. We loved diving in Bonaire.
Okay. How many other places have you been?
We have scuba dived in Hawaii, Mexico, of course, a couple places off the coast of Florida. Trying to think where else.
Making you think.
I know.
So,
and off the coast of Georgia, I think, too.
Okay.
It seems like.
So, here at the harbor, and this is a podcast called Today is My Favorite Day.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I can only assume that today, being part of your favorite day, is a 2-hour hold for a government agency.
Oh, yes. Lovely. On hold for almost 3 hours.
Almost, yeah.
And the phone gets disconnected.
Yeah, get it.
But that's when you say, you know what?
Wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be. I got other things. I got tedious things done that kind of distracted me from those tedious things while I was on hold. So, today's still my favorite day.
Yeah, it is. It is. What are your plans for the future? What have you got on the calendar? Have you got, you and Russell have any plans for another trip anywhere?
No, we hope to go home the holidays at Christmas time to see our parents. They're both getting older. His dad's already passed away, and my mom has. So, just want to spend some time with our parents as they're getting older, and just see the family. So
if you had to say your top 3 challenges, being the operations person here at the harbor, what would they be?
That's a tough question. Every day is unique, and so you never quite know what the day is going to entail.
Which in ministry, that's
normal. So I guess that's
probably a challenge, just, you know, having to think on your feet a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
You get some strange questions sometimes, so you really have to think on your feet. That's
Mm-hmm.
always a challenge. So I would say that's probably one. Juggling your time, just good time management,
Right.
because, you know, working for a small church, there's lots of little things that have to be done,
Right.
so you really have to watch your time and kind of prioritize, so that's a challenge. The other, I don't know. I really don't. I mean, while those are challenges, I enjoy them as well.
Right, right.
So.
So what was your background, employment background before you came to the harbor?
Well, I feel like it's been a lifetime ago now. Before, I guess, but I was application support manager for a software development company.
Okay.
And then I moved into their quality assurance manager for them too. I worked for them for probably 9 years full time, and then another 5 years part time for home. Stayed home with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Until she was kind of old enough. I said when my world stopped revolving around class parties and and carpool, I did go back to work. And my husband and I were blessed to be at a place to where, you know, I could work at a job where I felt like I was making a difference.
Okay.
So at that point, when I went back to work in 2017 full time, I went back to work for the church.
Okay.
So, and that was my first time working for a church. I had done lots of volunteer work. When my daughter was in school, I volunteered at our food pantry as assistant director of our food pantry at our church. So I had done that, but just on a volunteer basis. So
Right.
This was almost like a new career for me whenever I started back in 2017.
No, okay. Today is my favorite day. We have several truths and things like that, but how do you put that into your daily life? Today being my favorite day. I know I struggle with the whole gaze at God, glance at the problem thing, because the problem's right in my face.
And it's up close and personal and right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that too. And that is definitely a challenge. You know, for me, I have to just stop.
Okay.
And I say, all right, God, I need to put this in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, God just kind of gives me that word perspective a lot.
Okay.
And so when I stop and say, all right, God, when I'm looking at this in light of eternity,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that kind of
gets my bearings right.
Right.
And again, they gaze at God, glance at your problems too. I know you're bigger than this situation. I know you have a plan and a purpose for this. And so I'm just going to go at it, Lord. I know you're leading me. So just, if there's something I need to correct, I try to, ask for forgiveness for it and move on. Sometimes I feel like God should get tired of me. I'm so thankful that he does it. But
right.
But really just trying to keep things in perspective and in light of eternity.
So, and the other thing I need to mention here is that Kim just doesn't sit in the office. You balance a lot of other jobs also. You take care of our greeters here, and you work with Alexis and myself, and try to keep the ministries here contained.
Try to.
It's kind of like herding cats.
Sometimes.
Everybody's got their own idea of how important their ministry is.
Yeah.
Right? And so how do you find interacting with pastors and leaders of ministries that need to be reined in?
For me, I love working with people. I just always have. Even in my former job, when I was application support manager, basically was software help desk manager. So, I like problem solving. It's just kind of, I guess, in my nature to do that. And I guess that's why God's called me to work at jobs where there's multiple hats and whatnot. I like to be busy too. So, I think I would get really bored if I did the same thing over and over.
Yeah, and it's definitely different every day here, right?
So while it's a challenge, it's also very rewarding.
Yeah, okay. Any other hobbies or things like that you like to do? So we know you like to scuba dive, so water has to be a big part of your hobby life.
Yeah, I do love the beach. Like to swim too. Not professionally or anything, like not lessons or anything. I kind of learned on the Mississippi River how to swim. So, but I do like the water. I also like gardening too. Okay. I don't do it as much since we've moved here. A lot to learn.
Yeah.
Because everything's different. It's USDA different zone altogether. I mean, a different zone, growing zone. So I haven't really had a good opportunity and haven't slowed down enough to really learn. But I still enjoy it. Get out in the flower bed. I said nurseries and garden centers are kind of my happy place. So.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you say you do have a garden or didn't have a garden at home?
We don't have a garden. I do have some plants and pots and things now. Russell and I probably will do one next year. Okay.
That's a lot of work. Now, see, our garden, when we had it in Wyoming, we had a really short growing period. And basically so, and you had to enrich the soil and everything else. I know there's a lot of sandy soil here. Our biggest issue was not bugs, was not deer, was not anything like that coming in and eating. It was hail.
Oh, wow.
So right about the time all your produce is coming into season and the tomatoes are starting to get ripe and the zucchini and everything that you're growing, and the hail comes. And so we had several different ways to try and cover the plants. But when you're on the other side of town and the hail starts, it wipes out the garden. So we don't have that issue here. Yeah, we got hurt a couple little times, but we enjoyed doing it. Yeah. We're not in a place where we can use a garden here, or can plant a garden here. But what do you see for the harbor going forward as far as our growth and the new ministries that probably need to come on board?
I think God has put us in a unique position. One of the things, I guess, that drew me to the harbor was it's a small church, so it's easy to kind of get plugged in and get to know people. But they do things like a lot of big churches do.
Right.
I mean, growing up in the Bible Belt, I've been to some small churches where, you have the piano player and the organ player and the choir in the background, and it's very traditional.
Right.
Here it's not, it's more the contemporary worship, and the programs they do here kind of relate to a lot, to what people do now. And so I feel like we're uniquely positioned to do that. And I think it can draw in, people from various backgrounds, because we're all from various backgrounds.
Right.
And so I just feel like God's preparing us to do some things. I mean, we've got, awesome volunteer pastors, yourself being one of them. and some people with some awesome talent. I mean, you know, we've got Alex Korn, who's so smart with technology.
Yeah, and he always hides in the booth.
Alex
is our producer.
He does an awesome job. And so, I mean, to me, to have this deep wealth of volunteer base, right. I mean, I just feel like God is positioning us to grow and to be able to start programs as He leads us to. You know, Alexis has started MOPS. That's doing better, and it reaches, you know, a group of people that right. we would not have otherwise been able to reach, and connecting with people with where they are. You know, and the Harbor Church is really good about that. So.
Well, for those of you who don't know, MOPS is Mothers of Preschoolers, correct?
Okay. Yes, it is.
Yeah, and so we do have that program here, and you can contact the church and either get Kim or Alexis, and they'll let you know what you need to do. You have a preschooler out there, and you want to connect with some other mothers, hey, this is the place.
It is.
So we have some good things coming up here in the next couple months. We're coming into the holiday season.
Yes,
So what our next event is?
Fall Fest.
Fall Fest.
Yes,
Fall Fest,
and it was so much fun. I mean, last year was really, I guess that was the first big event we got to do, I guess, post-COVID.
Post-COVID, yeah.
And we had so much fun. I mean, it was just really laid back, really fun family atmosphere. So we're excited to be able to do that again this year.
Yeah, our student ministry will have a car here, and our theme is donuts.
And you have to come to know why. That's important.
That's right. That's right. So, and through the holidays, we have several programs coming up. We have plenty of stuff for all age ranges. I think that's one thing that I like about the church. There's another thing too, and correct me if you think I'm wrong. Basically, the way the leadership in the church is here, if you have a ministry, you're expected to just do it.
You are, and I like that because you know, a lot of the larger churches, because of their size, has a lot of, you know, I guess not really red tape, but you know, you have a lot of processes and things that you have to follow, which we do have processes here to make sure things run smoothly.
Right. Yeah.
But there's a lot more oversight, I feel like, than here. We have proper oversight, but when we try, you know, whenever we have a leader that is in charge of this ministry, it is their ministry to do and to let God lead them. Now, obviously, they communicate that to the senior leadership, and it's always approved. But I do like having the freedom to come up with the ideas, and it's not like, here's a plan for you to carry out. It is, where do you see this ministry going, and what's important to your ministry, and why is this important? And if it meets with the company, listen to me, I have business background coming out here. If it meets with the ministry and as well as the church goals, then it's a good idea, you know. So I think it helps build the leadership up as well as, you know, the ministry for what it needs specifically.
Right. I know with Dave, and I talked to him after we first started coming here about, you know, I came from a larger church, and the structure and the oversight and you get 3/4 into a project and somebody doesn't like it, so it gets shut down. And that's not the way it is here.
No.
It's it is you know, we say it's a small church and a large family, and it is that way. And we have personality quirks, and sometimes people, you know, some of us get bent out of shape. We just don't break. You know?
That's right. We're real.
We're real. And that is one thing. We're also a recovery church. We have Celebrate Recovery here on Tuesdays. And that's the one thing, I think the primary thing that is very enticing to me, even to be in ministry here, is that all the pastors, most of the volunteer help, comes to Celebrate Recovery.
Yeah.
We all realize that we're not perfect.
Right.
We're and we will be one day, not here on this earth, you know.
That's right.
And so I think that's a real blessing. So we would encourage you. It is the Harbor Church. We have Celebrate Recovery on Tuesdays. If you call the office, you're going to get Kim most of the time, and she'll be able to direct you where you need to go. I want to thank you for coming today, Kim. This has been, I knew some of the stuff about you, and this is Kim's first podcast with us, and she's doing a great job. So I want you all to remember, you have to gaze at God and glance at the problems. Today is my favorite day. Why is today your favorite day today? So what about today, Kim, would be your favorite part of today?
You know what? I was healthy enough to come to work and to be able to... You know, I love being able to come to work. It's such a good environment. I mean, you know, where else do you get to come to work and you love the company goals every day? So
Yeah.
it's always, to me, I feel blessed to be able to work for the Harbor Church.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here. I greatly appreciate it. This has been Sam McKeown along with Kim McCollough. Today is my favorite day. Y'all live intentionally. Be very, very blessed, my friends. Take good care.
Thank you for listening to TIMFD, Today is My Favorite Day. Views, comments, and opinions are those of the host and guest alone, and Dave and Sam are solely responsible for the content of this podcast. TIMFD is produced and directed by Alex Korn. Music is composed and performed by Chuck Fott. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, live intentionally, and be very blessed.